What's up, founders? Nabs here. In a previous video, I talked a bit about my kind of strategy for leveling up my skills and choosing the right things to learn. But what I didn't go into as much was the actual processes I use to learn stuff, because I've never really been much of the sitting in class type. But I have still been able to teach myself a bunch of useful things. And now I have a good career and a pretty good knowledge of how the world works. So today, I'm going to do my best to share with you my top tips for teaching yourself stuff. These all work for me, and I'm sure some of the things I go into are going to work for you too. So let's start with the biggest thing, search engines. People joke about learning how to use the Google machine, but seriously, it's probably the most valuable life skill you can cultivate. Being able to find the answer to any question using the right terms on Google is going to propel you further than anything else I mentioned here. And humans are inquisitive beings, and a lot of the times we grow up, our curiosity starts to kind of shrink a bit compared to when we were kids. But if you build a good habit of asking crazy and strange questions to yourself, then I think that curiosity will stay strong. And for an entrepreneur, it's so important to nourish that. I can tell you, I've really asked a lot of stupid questions to Google first before I talk to people about it. Usually when I'm thinking about an idea, like anything, business idea, a feature for the salon, even personal stuff like diet, DIY. I've probably spent hours and hours sitting there Googling for extra info before I say a single word of it to anyone else. Because then I really know what I'm talking about and I've built up the knowledge about what I'm going to do. And software, we've got an expression for this called just in time. That refers to languages like JavaScript that aren't compiled and prepackaged, but they're kind of just read line by line and the computer just figures it out as it goes. I'm 100% like that compared to the compiled way. Compiled way is going to school, build up your knowledge, go to university, and then you go in with the kitchen sink, you're just armed with everything you need. Now, if you want to start learning like this, and you want to start, you might find that you think you're going to be really slow at the beginning because it's quite hard to put all these queries together. But I actually think most people, if you're watching this, you've probably been Googling stuff for 10 or 20 years. So you've easily got those 10,000 hours that you need to find things seriously fast. And on seriously fast, the other thing you need to be able to do is read quickly, very, very, very quickly. And it's one thing to just open some tabs, it's another thing to completely digest that info. So something that worked for me to train up that skill was to kind of run my finger along the screen. And my eyes would track the words and follow them, and I would actually read faster. The downside here is that you don't understand everything specifically because you're not taking a long time to read stuff. But then what you can do is you can actually then, when your eyes pick up on something that is kind of relevant and important, you can then slow down, read carefully, just really digest it and improve your mental picture, and then you can come back and read more stuff. And if you're a software developer, you're probably going to find that quite easy because I think we can all relate to Googling really specific things like crazy. It's just a really easy way of figuring out how to make stuff. So that's awesome. But for everybody else, it really just is a question of time and effort. Anybody can pick this up, and the internet does have everything. So at the beginning, this is a great way to learn stuff. I also read a lot of things. I read a lot of news and watch videos on the side. I don't watch TV anymore because I just lost interest in 99% of TV shows because it's not educational. I watch YouTube, and before you think it's just talk shows and viral videos, my feed is nothing like that. It's all educational content, vloggers, podcasters with interesting points of view, a lot of DIY and woodworking. So I put these on whenever I need a break, so I can still I can rest my right brain, but I can kind of engage my left brain a little bit with all sorts of kind of weird random things. And I do watch funny stuff too. I'm not a robot, but my humor is kind of absurd and dark. So Jimmy Fallon just doesn't do it for me. And then at the very, very, very high levels, you're probably going to come to a point in your career where it actually becomes really difficult to find stuff on Google, and you just can't find those answers anymore. They don't exist. And I think it's because you start going into the territory of coming up with new kind of bespoke ideas. And at first, when you get there, it can be a little bit scary, I think, because suddenly all your utilities for finding out solutions are suddenly gone, and it's almost like you have to start guessing about things. But there are solutions at this level. When you get to this point, it's really, really important to have a network of experienced mentors. The thing about mentors is that they need to know more than you and have more experience. So they're probably further in their careers and they're really, really busy. So you have to get very, very good at exhausting all the other options before reaching out. And you also need to be respectful of their time. And they might not have the answers that you need, but it's probably going to be an engaging question, and they might riff with you for an hour talking about it. And they might actually help you find the solution. And that kind of comes to the next part. It kind of is down to you at that point. It's so amazing to be in this situation because it means you're innovating and people are going to look to you for the answer. So you just need to soak in as much peripheral info as possible, and then at the end of the day, you just go with your gut. You're probably going to be pretty close if you did all those previous things that I mentioned. And at that point, once you've made your little discovery, it's your responsibility to pay it forward, because if you're working on like some sensitive IP or something, I mean, you're not going to disclose that, but you should be thinking about the other things that you can share to kind of make the world's information resources better, because then in the future, someone else is going to find this an easier journey. All right, so that's enough for today. I hope that was helpful. That's everything how like Nabs learns in 2020. So, you know, now you know all my secrets. There's nothing really special to it. I just do a lot of Googling. and if, you know, feel free to drop any other learning methods in the comments, because I find this topic so fascinating and I had to learn a lot of this stuff the hard way, but it would be interesting to see if anyone's found some other solutions to their learning journey. So I'll catch you all in the comments, and I hope this video was great. I'll catch you next time.